Hello, I'm Vicky from Electric Needle Girls. This evening we'll be going over how to make a log cabin block, as you see here in this picture. So you can find a pattern for this on our website, electricneedlegirls.com.au, which will be in the link below. Now, what you need to start is your rotary cutter, cutting mat, a ruler. Now, and we'll get into the ruler, our specialty ruler as well. If you've got an ironing surface, an ironing mat and iron, but if you don't, a roll and press will work. And unfortunately, sometimes we might need our unpicker. So, to start with, we have our 2-inch square block. Now, we need to make sure that this is an accurate square. And then from there, we have our 1.5-inch wide logs. And these are oversized in length and width. So we just place that on top, take it to our machine, and we sew our 1/4-inch seam. Now, if you've got a 1/4-inch foot, that's perfect. If you don't, a seam guide or a piece of tape is really good as well. So we'll start off with our Matilda's iron ruler here. So we've sewn our 1/4-inch seam. And we need to press that open. So pressing this. Okay. Now we're going to trim off our excess from the sides. So this allowed us to keep each of the sides to 2 inches. We weren't having to stretch the fabric or minimize it at any point. Well, we can't minimize it, but yes, stretch the fabric. So it's just allowing that accuracy. Now we then take our ruler. We want to cut our log down to 1 inch because we are going to have a finished log of 3/4 inches. So I put some glow tape on here as a visual guide for me, but it's not necessary. You can just do it to the 1-inch line of the ruler. So cut that off. So that's down to our 1 inch, which will end up being 3/4 of an inch. So that's using our standard ruler. Okay. Standard ruler. Okay. Our next piece. Now I'm going to show you how to use our roll and press with this one. So we open it out and then we just press that with our roll and press. So this is if you don't have access to a PowerPoint or you've gone away and you want to keep things minimized. So we take, this is our block lock ruler. It's a specialty ruler with a groove in it, which will help with log cabins specifically. They do other rulers, but this is our log cabin one. So we take that, like with the other ruler, we just trim off the excess. Okay. Now this is where the magic happens with this ruler. Because we've got this groove in it and we've oversized this, we take on our small side here, we take it to the seam and it just butts up against the seam. From there we have our perfect 1 inch and we trim down our excess. Let's make sure we just throw that in the bin, keep things nice and tidy here. So that is our 1 inch. From there, you will sew on your next piece in a clockwise direction and trim that down. So we'll just trim the sides. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a trick way. This is just for the block lock ruler, but this makes cutting all the other sides down a little easier. So, yeah, so what you meant to do before I cut those sides off is you butt that against that seam and your excess here you would have cut off. So let's just trim that down one more time. It's just as quick as that. Okay. Once you've done all 4 sides of your first block, it's going to look like this. So your first piece or log that you sewed will have both sides sewn in. That's what I call as being locked in. Now this is a visual aid to tell you where that you're going to place your next log piece. So this is our next log piece. Okay, both sides are sewn in. I'm going to place that there. Now from there, once you open it out, you'll see that that side is then locked in to follow on, so on and so forth. Okay, so you follow that method all the way around, all 4 times, and you'll end up with your full log cabin block. Now from here, because we want to make things as nice and neat as possible, we're going to square up our block. So I have an 8-inch square ruler because our block will finish at 7.5. Now you want to make sure that it's going to line up with these lines here. So you place it in the middle and you make sure those lines match up with those lines and it looks like it's in the center. Okie dokie. We take our ruler, our rotary cutter, and we trim. We turn. So this is a rotary cutting mat. So we go around all 4 sides. This is a really good way of not having to shift your ruler or your actual piece, because sometimes that you have to realign and it takes longer. So from there, you go around and pull it away. Now, normally there would be some offcuts, but I have had to do this video a couple of times. So these were the offcuts that I had. So that's how to make one individual block. Now, I tend to want to cut less and sew more. So what I do is I do something called batch sewing. So this batch sewing is I'm not cutting our log strips down, I'm only cutting my center squares. So when it comes to these log strips, I'm just sewing them each on as we go. So my next one would be this one in the machine, and I'll just piece it on and on. And I do this with every single round that we did on this block. So I would do it for that, each side we would batch sew this on. Then we would take your scissors, cut it just in between scissors really quick, and trim it as we did with the rest of the block. So that is how to make a log cabin quilt, or log cabin block for a quilt. As you can see here, most of these items are on our website for purchase. That's electricneedlegirls.com.au. You'll see it all in the link below. I hope you've enjoyed this video and have a lovely evening. Goodbye.